Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to Tripan Study Center. Let's see what is our topic today. Water pollution. The water pollution is a major problem for our country. Addition of the undesirable of substance of water is called water pollution. There is an addition of undesirable substance called to the water pollution. The water pollution could be due to the natural and human activity. The first of all here, a natural source of water pollution are soil erosions, leaking of the mineral from rocks, and decline of the organic matter. And the human-made source will include domestic agriculture, industrial activity, and many water sources have become a dumping ground for the waste. The water pollution is one of the main cause of human disease in India. And there is one fact here, any physical, biological, and chemical change of water quantity that absorb their effect, living organisms and make a water unstable for desired use are called to the water pollution. There is a generally is what here a physically, biologically and chemical change. There is a water quantity that is called to the water pollution. Here is a water pollution source of here. There are two sources of water pollution on the base of origin of the pollutant. There the first is a point source and second is a non-point source. Here is the first of all is a point source. Those source which is a discharge water pollutant directly into the water known as the point source of water pollutions. Oil well as situated near water bodies, factories, power plant and underground coal mine etc. are pointed source of water pollution. There is a called point source. And the next is a non-point source. Those sources which do not have any specific location for discharging pollutants and in the water body are known as a non-pointed source of water pollutions, runoff from agriculture field, soil and garden, construction of the site, road and the streets as some non-pointed source of water pollution. There is a non-point water pollution. There is a next is a water pollutants here. The river, lake and sea water may be polluted in many ways. The first is a domestic sewage. They are discharged into river from area located on the bank. And the second is a industrial waste. The flows from to the urban area containing high concentration of oily, heavy metal and detergent. There is a industrial waste. And the next is a mineral organic waste or crop dusting from agriculture filled with the phosphate and nitrogen fertilizer that the rich lake of rivers and the sea water become deoxygenated and poison. Thus, I cannot be support aquatic life. There is a very danger for the aquatic life. And the next is the chemical fertilizer, pesticide, insecticide, and the herbicide and the plant remain. There is a most water pollution here. And the next is the industrial base water containing several chemical pollutants such as calcium, magnesium, chloride, sulfide, carbonate and nitrates. And there's a heavy metal and there are radioactive waste from the nuclear reactor. The secretary of waste of human and the animal in the water bodies here and disposal of the urban industrials and the waste material into the water bodies and they're showing in this diagram. There acidic water from mines, sedimentation, crop dustings, industrial waste and there more on. And there is a ones the yards of waste, fertilizer runoff, nuclear reactor, sewage treatment plant, oil pollutions and their water pollution due to the human activity here shown in this diagram. The effect of the water pollution here. The water pollution advises to the effect of the fish or the aquatic life. The presence of the acid, alkalines and water destroy macroorganisms, thereby they are distributing on their self-purification process of river. That is the most important here. The toxic materials is the water causing serious health harms and the human beings to other animals. There is a very dangerous situation here and is a polluted water causing a spread of the epidemic. The epidemic disease is mainly a source and there are water such as a cholera, tuberculosis, jaundice, dysentery, typhoid and diarrhea is a human beings. There is a common disease is a daily life. There is a cholera, tuberculosis, jaundice, a dysentery and typhoid and diarrhea is a human beings. There is a causing. The next is the use of the polluted water from a lake, pond, river, aeration of the agriculture field, damage crop survival and decrease in agriculture production. And the use of water contaminated with their salt increases the alkalinity of the soil. The heavily polluted water affect the soil and decrease its fertility and the kill soil microorganism and even contain a useful bacteria. And contamination of the seawater due to the oil sick causing by the leakage of the crop and the oil from oil tanker causing is a ecological disaster and which result in the death of the sea organism include the fishes. So here the major distribution of their ecosystem due to the water pollution here, the major source and the pollutant source causing effect. The nitrate is agriculture, plant nutrient and eutrophications. And the phosphate, there is ammonia salt. There is a fertilizer, sewage and the manure. And cause of there is a plant nutrition also. And the animal manure and plant residues is a sewage, paper, mills and the food processing wastes. He has oxygen deficiency and death of aquatic animal. And the next is a pollutant is the heat. The power plant and the industry's cooling, there is a thermal discharge, there is death of fish. There is a very dangerous. And next is the oil sick, the leakage from oil seep and the petroleum and death of a marine life due to non-ability of oxygen dissolved in the water. The air fertilizer and pesticide are widely used of agriculture. Other exclusive use for their increasing of agriculture yard has led to be phenomenon the eutrophications and biomagnification. That is the most important here topic is biomagnification. There is eutrophication here. With the use of the high yielding variety of crop, the use of fertilizer and the pesticides has increasing a lot of excuse of fertilizer may be mixed with the surface water and may be drain it into the water bodies. Their surface is a run off. The requirement of the water with the nutrients such as a nitrate, phosphate that triggers to growth of green algae is called to eutrophications. Showing this figure and their fast growth of algae flow by the decomposition of depth their water bodies of dissolving or dissolve oxygen as a result aquatic animal die oxygen of shortage. And there is a flow here sewage and the fertilizer run off their field. The requirement in nutrient contain a lake and eutrophications. And also goals based the algae multiply to reduce on the algae's blooms. Algae use up oxygen and began to die, decompose or bacteria multiply and thus more oxygen. Or organisms such as fish die due to lack of oxygen. Here show this diagram. There is sequence of event that may be occur result of eutrophication here. There is a many types of organism here present. There is a need for the oxygen and grow that. Here is a biomagnification here. The non-biodegradable pesticides such as a DDT are widely used of the crop protections, and the ones they are enter to the food chain and their concentration keep increasing with the each tropical level. A step of food chains as a result, accumulation of this is a compound take place in the body of top consumer and the over a period of time. The entry of harmfully non-biodegradable chemical in the small concentration and their accumulations is a great concentration in the various level of food chain is called to the biomagnification. The biomagnification considered of flowing food chain. It is there any different is the concentration of DDT in the water and that is the body of the pelican's board. There are water, algae, fish and the pelican's board. There is a water is a 0.2 pm and the algae is a 77 ppm and the fish is a 500 to 600 ppm and the pelican birds is a 1700 ppm. The DDT use a small quantities of kill the mosquito can be entered to food chain and maybe get a concentration of large concentration due to be non-biodegradable of nature in the body of bird, stop or consumer. This causing absorptive effects such as a beak, egg swell and resulting in decreasing of pollution. Here showing this diagram the how the pesticides affect the food chain. There is show there are two birds eat or several large fishes. Each large fish eat the several small fishes. There is the link by 1 to 1. There is the most important to the food chain. One eats the other. There is a DDT is a mix for the last as a consumer. Here the list of source of industrial pollution here. The mining is the chloride, various metal, ferric sulfate, sulfuric acid, hydrogen sulfide, ferric hydrocarbon, sulfur waste, unsuspended soil, and chloride heavy metal. and the iron is still here. The suspended soil iron, chlorides and thiamocornates, sulfides, oxide and copper, chromiums and on more on. The oil and phenols and the naphthalene. And chemical plant here. The various acid and alkaline is chloride is a sulfate, nitrate, metal, phosphorus, fluorines, silica, and the suspended particles. The aromatic compound here and the parasutically here the protein, carbohydrate, organic solvent, intermediate product, drugs, and antibiotic. There are paraceuticals here. And soap and detergent is ammonia compound, alkaline, the fat and the fatty acid, glycerol, phosphate, and there's an on there. And food processing is a highly persuaded. And paper and pulps is a sulfide bleaching liquid and the cellulose fiber, bar protein and sugar, organic acid, and etc. Here next is the some water pollutant, their source and effect on the human health. There is a lead source industry waste, disease in human nervous disorder, kidney failure, blood poison, and tin is an industrial dust, effect to central nervous system and effect to the vision. And the mercury is an industrial discharge, the effect of central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, kidney failure, numbness of the lips, muscles, and the limbs of the vision. The next is the RS6 is the industrial discharge, respiratory, skin cancer, nervous disorder. And nickels, cadmiums here is the herbals, industrial dust, and there is a pulmonary disorder and diabetes. And the cadmium, industrial discharge, a kidney disorder. Erythropoiesis is a radioactive waste. There is a leukemia, skin cancer, and on there. Then here is the prevention and control of the water pollution here. The water pollution control is treatment of industry effluents before discharging into river, separate is channels to river and sewage water. And the next avoid the contamination of river, lake and pond and washing the cloth and bathing etc. Non-throwing waste is a food materials, paper, biodegradable vegetable and the plastic into the open drains. And setting up the sewage water treatment is a plant and the use of septic tank is a house is to avoid direct outlet of the feces, metal and other waste. And the next here, there is a influence of from road desolators and the solid waste is a containing organic matter is devoted to be a biogas plant to be generate of energy. And at least is a maintain and a safety standard for the efficient discharge into the water system. There the next topic is the treatment of sewage. The sewage can be treated by the moderate techniques involving 3 steps: primary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. The first is the primary treatment. Sewage is passed through the grading mechanisms, and this is then to pass through the several settling of chamber and lime to the added to the neutralize it. The neutralizing of sewage still containing a large number of pathogenic and non-pathogenic organic and sufficient amount of organic matter. The next is there a secondary treatment. This neutralize of the influence of pass through the reactor is called UASB. Is a upflow aerobics style blanket. In this reactor is anaerobics bacteria degrade to the biodegradable material into the neutralized influence, and this process is a fall order is a methane and release and the sewage converted into the clean water. This water sent to the aerations of tank. Their air is a bacteria added to it, and this process is called to the biological secondary treatment. Here show the biological treatment. Here is a very easy processing. There is a treatment of here. The primary is a sedimentation tank, aeration tank, and the more on, and it goes waste to next step. There is a totally processing of treatment of sewage, the territory, longer wards, and there is a chlorination tank, and the so on. There the water is obtained to the result of secondary treatment is still unfit of drinking, and there are need for further purification. This is done by tertiary treatment. In the treatment which is the defective process finally trace of the disinfected to bacteria and any dissolved.